Hello leaders, you're listening to In Between, a higher self-leadership podcast. I'm Valarie Sanjeevi, a business coach and leadership mentor. In my podcast, I wish to share my awareness on higher self-leadership and how we can integrate it in our leadership practice every day and see results. Higher self-leadership is in the awareness. Hello everybody. Today I want to speak about vulnerability and how it pertains to leadership. First of all, I want to speak about the definition I'm taking around vulnerability. It might be my definition, or actually it's a definition that I think it's a nice perspective around leadership. So vulnerability is something that we all have because we are human. So it's related to our humanness. And as it's related to humanness, I like to give the definition of vulnerability with three perspectives. The first one, there is a physical body. And we have to take care of physical body because if we don't, we might, as leaders, burn out. And as I always say to my clients, the body is the one who is going to have the last word. Because if the body can't take you and do your job, there is no job done. Then the second perspective is about around emotions. So we are going to see how vulnerability is linked to emotions and how it's part of the emotional intelligence that we speak a lot, how it's part of the resilience that we need to build. The last perspective is around the mind. And our mind is telling us a lot of story. When it's trying to play in the hamster wheel, it's trying to tell us that we shouldn't be vulnerable and this is not good. And whatever it's telling us, everybody has his own story. And the mind is great when it can learn and contemplate what vulnerability means and how it can pertain, as I said, to leadership and how it can be a strength and not a weakness. So for me, vulnerability can be seen with those three perspectives: around the body, around the emotions, and around the mind. So let's dive in. We all admire strong leaders. Have you ever noticed that the leaders who inspire us the most are actually the ones who dare to show their humanity? And I want to say their humanness. Vulnerability is the things that we most crave in others and the thing that we most fear for ourselves. And that's why when we see it in leadership, we feel more inspired to see that even leaders can show their vulnerability. But how can we show this vulnerability? And what does it mean to show it? Showing our vulnerability, it doesn't mean it's oversharing about our personal life. It's not oversharing about intimate things about us. It's not crying in front of everybody, which we might. Doesn't mean that we can't. But I want to emphasize the fact that sometimes we compare vulnerability with doing something oversharing, over emotional, over saying, over acting. And that's not what it is, vulnerability to me. To me, vulnerability is what is going to bring connection. That's the key word around vulnerability. That's how I can still connect to the leader because they are not robot, they are human. And because if I'm part of a team and I am inspired by a leader, I want to see this humanness. And humanness, it's all around connection. If I feel I can connect with the leaders on different level, it can be physical, emotional, or with the mind, then I feel, first of all, that I exist and that this person is reachable, that it's not a superhero. As much as we like superhero, but we want to relate to the superhero. I'm very fond of superhero movies, and in all those movies, at one point, we can see the superhero with doubting in the rabbit hole, who is like facing something difficult, either physically, either emotionally, either mentally, and he can't, do his mission. We always see that in those movies, the vulnerability. So it makes the superhero more human, and so we can relate to it. And it's the same with the leader. It's the same in leadership. That's why we are looking for that in those people, in those leaders, because we are trying to find this vulnerability, which is going to be a connection bridge for us. And it allows us to be in connection with this person. It allows us to feel that we might be one leader sometimes. I even want to say it gives hope. But the other side of the coin, because every coin has two sides, the other side of the coin is like leaders, they resist this vulnerability because it's misunderstood, first of all, and nobody likes to be seen as weak. And as long as we are going to link vulnerability as weak with fragility, then there will be a problem. When we will be able to see the opposite, because of this vulnerability, I can connect more with people and I can inspire, then there will be something emerging. Another reason that leaders, we don't like to show our vulnerability is like if we are concerned that if we show that we are struggling, that it might create doubt. Doubt that if the leader doesn't know, who knows? If the captain is not leading the boat, or who is in charge? We fear the judgment. And the judgment is as much the judgment from ourselves on ourselves and the judgment from others against us. And this judgment is about, am I losing my credibility? Am I losing my legitimacy if I don't know? If I'm showing that I'm weak? If I'm showing that I have emotions? If I'm showing that I'm tired, physical level? If I'm showing that I don't know, mind level? And on top of that, of course, there is all the cultural and business conditioning saying that, we shouldn't show our emotions. We need to be strong. We need to be in control. We need to be in command. We need to move and to move and to move all the time. And we shouldn't show any sign of weaknesses. We shouldn't show any signs of being uncertain, any signs of fears. That's what a robot is. It doesn't have any emotions. It doesn't have a physical body. Leaders, we are not robots. We are not superheroes. So what is the good way, if there is a good way, to embody this vulnerability? And how can I make it a strength and not a weakness? So we have to shift, first of all, the perspective around vulnerability. If vulnerability is the bridge for people to connect to me as a leader, that's what is going to build trust. If people can connect to me, they can feel if they can trust me. So it makes me approachable. It creates this connection that we are all longing for. So how do I allow this connection through this vulnerability? How can I share being present, physical body? How can I be present with the team, among the team, physically present, with their struggle, with whatever they are facing? How can we relate emotionally? How can I say that I don't know? How can I accept that they don't know? How can we pause? Again, physical body. How can we breathe? How can we accept that we need rest and soul care? And in the not knowing, that's where innovation and new ideas can come. It's because I have space and I allow the space, like we said in the podcast around acceptance. How can I create the space? The more as a leader I will accept that I'm human and so I have those emotions and those emotions are normal. And I'm not telling a story around those emotions because the mind is the one holding on the emotions. Emotions can be processed very fast, actually. The mind is trying to tell you is because you are feeling that, because you are feeling uncertain, because you are feeling emotional, that you are not a good leader. You are not strong enough. You're not good enough. You're not worthy enough. So put a veil on your vulnerability. Be stronger. That's not the path to go. Because the more I'm going to listen and be honest that I have those emotions, the more I will build this resilience. The more I will be self-aware that I am triggered right now by some emotions, that I need to process, the more I will be self-aware that my body needs rest and I am not a robot. The more I can do that, the longer I will be able to run the marathon. That's what we are saying. That's how resilience is built. Performing leaders are not the ones who are getting people to follow them. They don't have to convince people. It's because they are going back to this humanness that people feel inspired. And that's what we are looking for right now in the world, for people who inspire us. And vulnerability is a big deal. Again, not in a way that I have to overshare, crying all the time. It doesn't mean that I can't cry. But do I have to cry in front of the team? No. Can I say that I'm facing something? Yes. Do I process my emotions? Yes. Can I tell that I need a pause? Yes. Can I say that I need sometimes to contemplate? Of course. And if I allow myself to do it, then the team will feel comfortable to do it as well. And so together we can go further. So if I can accept that I am not an imposter because I'm human and humans are vulnerable, then already I made a big move. So what are the practical ways to lead with vulnerability? First of all, like I said, there is 3 levels: physical body, emotions, and mind. Let's start with allowing to have a break, to pause. This will help the 3 levels: the body, the emotions, and the mind, because this will allow space, and the void will allow the new ideas and the innovation to come in. So space on the physical body is just to breathe sometimes, or to take a break, or to go sleep. When was the last time you slept for 6 hours? Emotionally, it might be to find a space to process your emotions. You can go run, or you can go on a treadmill, you can go meditate, you can go on your yoga class. Usually, to quiet the mind, you have to find your own way, but you can be in nature, or you can be just having a nice dinner with some friends, not speaking about anything related to work. So that's the way to process. Another way to process our vulnerability is to say that we are facing a rough path right now. We don't have to share necessarily what the rough path is about, if it's personal. If it's related to the mission, yes, of course, we can say that right now we are in a tough path because, the economy is not good, because worldwide we don't know where we are going. Whatever the reason is, you can share that. And that's where I want to link vulnerability with courage. It takes courage to explain what's going on. It's about transparency as well. Another word that we hear a lot is authenticity. Another thing around vulnerability is to accept that we are in this uncertainty and still move. For me, vulnerability can be related to learn how to juggle. And when you learn how to juggle, sometimes you drop a ball. Okay, do I pretend that I didn't drop anything? Or do I accept that I dropped something and I'm still learning how to juggle all of it in this uncertainty? Again, people are not looking for the superhero. They are looking for someone who is going to lead the mission. So, okay, we don't have all the answers now, but they are going to come. We are going to try. And if we don't succeed right away, it's okay, because on the path we will learn a lot. That's what it means as well to be vulnerable. To accept this is not failures. It's a learning curve. So that's okay that we don't have all the answers. Because, if we knew everything already and there was no more learning, I bet you we will be bored. So vulnerability is as well coming with the acceptance that we are still learning, and most of us leaders, we will learn until the end, because that's what we like. We are not looking for the plateau. We are looking to go and to expand more, because it's possible, not because we have to. So maybe in conclusion, around vulnerability, which is very much linked to true leadership, it's not about knowing everything and having all the answers. It's to accept that we don't have all the answers, and we accept that for the others as well. And if we feel safe altogether that we don't have all the answers, but we are willing to work together in order to bring those answers and to bring more ideas, then we win altogether. It's about moving with the fear. So here is the contemplation question I'm asking to you leaders. Where in your leadership are you still holding back because you are afraid to be vulnerable? What would your day be if you allow yourself to lead without any armor, without the need to prove that you have all the answers, and with allowing you to be vulnerable? I hope all those contemplation questions will help you to move one step beyond. Thank you for listening. Leadership in Action. See you soon in the next episode.